Hi, welcome to my channel. My name's Gina. I've just borrowed this book, Elvis's Man Friday, from a friend, and I need to return today. But I want to read some chapters or some bits out of it. Excuse me. It's just one of the best books. I say that a lot, I know, but that I've read about Elvis. Gene Smith was his cousin, one of his cousins that grew up with him. He was the same age as Elvis, I think 2 weeks difference in their age. And people say, I often wonder what happened to Gene, why wasn't he there toward the end? But he actually got married and had children and told Elvis in the 60s that he couldn't continue to travel around with him anymore because of his, he wanted to be with his family, and Elvis understood that. And they did keep in touch right up until Elvis's death. And the book explains everything, and it's just beautiful. The last chapter is his reflections on Elvis's Elvis as a person, and I'll just read a few bits and pieces out because I just love it. Elvis had his own sense of humour. There must be millions of people who can testify to that fact. Elvis, as the world knows, was a master communicator. He could speak volumes with a look or a wink, or just by crooking his little finger at the crowd. Excuse me. And in his movies, there's not a motion picture that Elvis made that Elvis's scarcely concealed private joke doesn't jump off the screen at the viewer. Elvis was having himself a laugh, and he wanted everyone else to be in it. Even when he was delivering some of the heaviest lines of dialogue available, he would look like he had to bite his lips to keep from laughing, like he was trying to signal his friends, fans and family, "Don't worry, we'll escape this scene and we'll have the last laugh yet." Almost every scene of every movie, I keep expecting Elvis to turn and wink at the camera, as he actually did several times. I remember those bits. I love some of those bits in his movies when he did that. And he talks a bit more about his movies and so on, communicating. Excuse me. An Elvis concert or Elvis during a live performance was a wholly different matter to his films, because Elvis wasn't hedged into pretending that he wasn't Elvis Presley. He could let it all hang out when he was singing to a live audience, and when it wasn't supposed to be someone else doing the singing, like in a movie. But the good, healthy sense of having fun was present when he was doing a concert. And everyone who ever attended one of Elvis's concerts will agree that everyone who was there got their money's worth. And this was important to Elvis. The most important thing in his life to him, he wanted his fans and everyone in his audience who didn't turn a deaf ear to get their money's worth. So Elvis put everything he had into every song he sang, exhausting himself, burning every ounce of energy he had until he was wringing wet with sweat, and his heart was pounding like a jackhammer. Elvis loved his fans. He loved his audience, and anyone who attended one of his concerts would tell you that he or she came away feeling like Elvis had touched him or her personally, whether they were 2 feet from him or on the back row, not just spiritually and emotionally, but physically. And everyone went away feeling better, happier, and grateful for having had a chance to spend some time with Elvis, to be in the same room with him, to walk away with a wide smile. It's a fairly cut and dried affair when it comes to the merest mention of the name Elvis. The folks who cared about him begin to smile, and those who didn't care for him at all frown or scowl, and the latter react this way because they never knew Elvis at all. I would venture to say that those who have their minds set against Elvis are so locked up with their prejudice, there's no way to persuade them to try to come out of that prison and be freed by Elvis Presley. Everyone who loved Elvis knows what I'm labouring to say without my ever having to say a single word. I hope that what I've presented in this personal account of my life and times with Elvis will shed some light as to why Elvis felt compelled to share what he had with others, why he was generous to a fault, and why he was secretly, painfully shy and preferred to keep to himself when he was not actually performing. Elvis didn't rush back to Graceland and hole up with his friends and family because he didn't want to be anywhere near his fans. The truth is that he felt he lacked the polish and sophistication to go hobnobbing in the plush restaurants and posh hotels, regardless of the outcome when he did frequent those places. Elvis was acutely self-conscious and worked hard to improve himself. He was constantly trying to improve the way he spoke because he felt uncomfortable with the manner in which he spoke English. Let me see, can be It wasn't that Elvis was ashamed of his ancestry or rejected his background. It was just that he wanted so desperately to be accepted, and he was fearful that those whose minds were set against him because of his origins and roots would reject him outright without ever having given him a chance. All of us have our highs and lows, and God knows that Elvis had his high moods and low moods. I don't know of anyone who came into this life more charged with energy or more driven by a sense of personal mission to do all that he could with all the might of his mind, body and soul to make things better for everyone with whom he came in contact. And Elvis had direct personal contact with millions of people. And in a sense, Elvis is still in contact with all those who loved him. And there are millions of people who to this very day get in touch with Elvis by way of his recordings when they are feeling low or discouraged and become uplifted just by listening to Elvis sing, whether he's singing a love song, or a gospel song, or a rock and roll song. There is no greater testimony to the life Elvis lived than the legacy of love that Elvis left behind. I believe this legacy will continue to shine from Graceland like a beacon of hope, regardless of how many legions of critics labour to destroy him and desecrate Graceland and all that it means to the rest of us. Graceland will remain like a great rock of Gibraltar long after those of us who loved Elvis have passed from this life, and long after Elvis's full-time critics have wandered off to crucify someone else with their criticism. Graceland will remain a lighthouse that continues to shine with one eternal, inescapable truth. Elvis loved us. I just think that's beautiful. There's lots more in that book that I'd like to read out, but hopefully I'll get a copy myself one day and be able to read the rest of it to you. I just love stuff like that. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Bye.